What's the secret to being happy at work? We're exploring 5 of the happiest jobs in America to find out. A nationwide Washington Post study recently broke down some of the happiest jobs in America and found that career happiness can boil down to a pretty simple equation. Higher levels of meaning plus lower levels of stress equals happy workers. But here's the thing, what makes one person happy at work might not make you happy at work. So this list isn't going to be a perfect fit for everyone. But if you're just starting to explore possibilities for your future, it can be helpful to see which careers make other people really happy. So let's dive in. The Washington Post study found that the #1 happiest industry in America was agriculture, logging, and forestry. Let's dive into forestry, because we love happy little trees. Urban foresters have a really cool career, working outdoors and bringing more tree cover and green spaces into towns and cities. Basically, their job is about spreading happiness to everyone around them, because people who live in towns with urban tree cover have lower stress levels too.
Forestry is the care and maintenance of trees in general. We usually look at urban forestry, or sometimes we'll call it community forestry, which is trees where people live, work, and play. So the trees that are not in the wildlands, but in our parks, along our streets, in our backyards, all of the trees that support our urban ecosystem would be considered the urban forest. I always kind of felt grounded in the park. That was a place where, even though there's sirens going by and there was all kinds of crazy happening, like the park was always just a really nice place. So then when I got a chance to kind of have my awakening moment going to college, I was like, well, what do you want to do? And I was like, I want to know the names of these trees, so I'm just going to go to school for forestry.
If you want to take a different route within America's happiest industry, another career option is farming. Farmers get the freedom to be their own bosses and set their own schedules. They only have to answer to Mother Nature. Plus, they feel their work is meaningful because they are literally feeding the planet, which pushes the industry to innovate each year.
I'm Brian. I farm full-time for a living with my dad and my grandpa. Born and raised on this farm. It's definitely not the 1950s. Everybody thinks you got the red barn and the blue silos and like one of every animal. And we're like any other industry. We get more specialized and more advanced all the time. What drives me is I always want to get better at this, even though I'm kind of doing the same thing every year. You have to want to do it and be better at it.
Okay, we're seeing a theme here. Everyone in our top 3 careers gets to start with a plain old patch of dirt and make something grow. In the construction industry, that can mean building something yourself with your own hands, but it can also mean working in lots of other roles that help support construction workers as they build amazing new things.
Right now in the construction industry, there's an opportunity like never before. There's what we call the skilled trade gap. Baby boomers, people that are 55 years of age or older are leaving the industry in droves. Construction isn't just being dirty and dusty and covered with paint. There's opportunities for you to get into spaces working with your hands, as well as working with your mind, as well as working in sales and advanced manufacturing and architectural and engineering. It's such a vast opportunity and such a vast industry that goes so much outside of the box of what most people think of just being just straight hands-on specific. So I would encourage everyone within our community to tap into these opportunities, to take a stronger look at construction and trade apprenticeships.
Our first 3 jobs were all happy, meaningful jobs, but they're also in industries that rely a lot on physical labor. That means they're not always accessible to everyone. So let's talk about some jobs where people are thriving in other environments, starting with IT. Today, so much of the world runs on technology, so IT and cybersecurity experts get a lot of meaning out of solving big tech problems and helping the rest of our lives run smoothly. Let's hear cybersecurity expert Billy Rios explain why his career feels so meaningful.
President Obama, for I think 30 minutes, had no control over our national nuclear arsenal, the intercontinental ballistic missiles called Minuteman III. The 3-story big missiles that are in the ground, for 30 minutes he couldn't control those. And so at some point he asked his staff whether or not it could have been a cyber attack. And his staff was like, we have no idea, right? So he basically said, you got to figure this out. So they assembled a team of people who knew cybersecurity. I was actually on that team. Definitely shaped my understanding of how cybersecurity works, what the impact of cybersecurity vulnerabilities could be, right? And how quickly the asymmetry where we have a group of 10, 20 people looking at these missiles, our results are going to the president, right? And so when I sit back and kind of think about all the things I did, I think that engagement there shaped a lot of who I am and kind of what I do.
We're rounding out our list with healthcare careers, which, like many others on this list, are about helping people. You may have noticed that healthcare workers did report higher levels of stress than others on our list, but many also say that the meaning they get from their work makes the stress worth it. Still, if the idea of having a stressful career, stresses you out, there are other lower stress options that make a big impact. For example, you could stay out of the operating room and instead go down the patient advocacy route, like Sonia Young Adam, whose organization uses advocacy to help Black women get the best care possible.
I never considered myself someone who would go and work for a health-focused agency or organization. Yet, when I was invited to apply for the CEO role here, I came to the work just with a heart and care for our community. And that's where I am now 7 years later. I still feel like am I a health person? Am I in health? But I'm in community health. And I'm in health as it relates to social justice and as it relates to changes in conditions. In that area of health, that is, I consider it standing in the gap between disparities, issues, challenges, the needs across particularly Black communities and our traditional healthcare systems and models that really have not done what they should do in order to meet those needs and to address those disparities and to overcome those challenges.
Ultimately, what makes you happy at work is going to be up to you. So if you're trying to figure out which career could make you the happiest, start by asking yourself a few questions. What kinds of work feel the most meaningful to you? And what kinds of environments make you feel comfortable or stress you out? Once you have those answers, you can start exploring paths that'll bring you the most joy. If you're on a mission to find work that makes you happy, make sure to like this video and subscribe to our channel. Bye! Go be happy.